So let's talk. Let's talk. New Year's coming up. The resolutions are rolling in, right? You have goals. For some of you guys, you might have actually started working on them in 2024 and you're just carrying the same goal because you haven't, completed it, or you're still working on it. So, kudos to you, bravo. For me, I would say the same thing. I'm carrying the same resolutions because I'm still working on them, but I've been actively working on them all year. So I'm proud of myself for that. And always remind yourself what you're proud of too. Don't always be pointing the finger at yourself about what you didn't do. Still remind yourself of the things that you have done. But for those of you guys who have not started, you had a plan, you didn't stick to it, or you tried it for a few weeks and you didn't have the willpower to stick through. Let's talk to y'all. Let's try to get to the root of the problem. First, I want you to ask yourself, is it really even something that you want to do? Sometimes I think we have these goals not because we want to do them, but because it sounds cool, or it'll make the people around us proud of us. I do not know why I'm yawning so much. It'll make the people around us proud of us. So like our parents, our friends, our partners. But it's not really something internally that you want to do. You're just doing it for the brownie points. And when you're just doing stuff for the brownie points, but not because it's true to you, it's going to be extremely difficult to sustain that for an extended period of time because it's just really not something that you want to do. Now, some stuff you have to do, right? So if you're overweight, you do have to lose weight. It just is what it is, right? If you want to live a long life and get off some of your medications that you might be on, ain't no room around it. Like you just gotta buckle up and do it. But you can make the journey easier by doing things that you enjoy. So maybe you don't really like to lift. Maybe you like to go on walks. Maybe you like to play a sport. How many times have I yawned? This is how you know this is too early for me, honey. This is too early for me, child. It's almost 7 o'clock and the sun is not out. Like, what is going on? Lord. Where was I? Maybe you like to play sports. You have to find an activity that you enjoy. I believe everyone has an activity that they enjoy that will keep you active. And so then it'll be easier to stay active. Now, you'll still have your days where you don't feel like it and then you got to rely on that discipline. But for the most part, it's something you enjoy. Same with food. You probably don't think you don't like healthy food because you're used to eating like shit. But I used to be the same way. I didn't think I liked healthy food either. But I think we all like healthy food. It's just a matter of finding the right meals for you. Finding the stuff that tastes good. And it don't have people be so ready to jump to a salad. But honestly, if you don't like salads, like, don't feel like you have to eat a salad. If you like them, knock yourself out. They're very nutritious, but there are other very nutritious meals that you can eat that aren't a salad. So just don't feel obligated to a salad. But find stuff, find meals, find fruits, find vegetables that you like. Get on Google, do your research, try different stuff. You might cook 5 meals and not like near one of them. All right, so you just cross that off. That's not something you're going to make again. But just keep looking for stuff until you find those meals that you do look forward to. Right? Now, if you're trying to go to school or start a business, I want you to ask yourself, is this really something that you want to do? Or are you just doing it for brownie points? I think a lot of times we don't know what we want to do. Or we think that what we decide we have to do for the rest of our life. And that's not true. It's kind of crazy how society makes us feel like, especially when you're going to college, when you graduate in feel like at 18, 19, however old you are when you graduate, that you have to have your whole life figured out by the time you start school. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. You know how many people I know that I went to school with or whatever that were in my degree program that aren't even using the degree that they got? I don't even use my degree anymore. I used it at first when I had that job that I told y'all about that I absolutely hated. But I don't use it anymore. Y'all see? I don't use it anymore. I haven't used my degree for almost 5 years. Probably should turn that off. Riding hot. I'm just asking for a ticket. Let me stop. Hopefully y'all can see, because I can't see myself on that screen at all. That screen look pitch black. But regardless, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to think you want to do something and then you get going and you realize that's just not for you. I feel like, how are you really gonna know if you don't try it? Like, I thought I wanted to be a nurse at one point, like a RN, a BSN, whatever. I shadowed one, and boy was I wrong. I was all the way wrong times 1,000. I was like, yeah, this is just it for me. And she worked in the she worked at the hospital, the same hospital I worked at, in the lab. She worked in critical care, and she worked day shift. Now them night shifts, I feel like are a little more chill. Sometimes, like, I know, like, they be having emergencies come in, so it might be a little crazy at some points throughout the night, but I feel like for the most part it's pretty chill, because they're not really going to no scheduled testing. You know, visiting hours are over, the doctors aren't really there. It's just more chill overnight. And so in those situations, I probably could have did it for a little while, but it wasn't fun, is my point. But shadowing her, and she was working like day shift, like when all the doctors are there, like when all the testing centers are open so they can run more tests on the patient. Like, she did not sit down. She did not sit down. And if I remember correctly, I think it was like 5 patients to 1 nurse. And the patients are up. Like, overnight, they're asleep. So, unless you gotta wake them up for their medicine or something like that. But for the most part, they sleep. Yo. When I shadowed her during the day, I was like, oh, no. I was like, more power to you, honey. You deserve all your money. And then some. Because that was no. But the point I'm making is, I didn't know. I didn't really know what that entailed. I thought I wanted to be a nurse because it sounded cool. I heard they make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out what it is that you really want to do, and not just do it because people are telling you to do it. Like, I think you really got to do some soul searching. You got to get off social media. I'm all for, like, just reprogramming your mind. Get off social media and really just try to think for yourself. Yeah. One thing that I think helped me figure out what it was that I wanted to do was, sometimes you got to ask yourself, because listen, before I tell you, I know we all got bills to pay, all right? But just listen, just hear me out. Just listen. Sometimes I think you got to ask yourself, if there was no check involved, would you still do it? I know that sounds crazy, because we all be driven by money, or, you know, because we all got to make a living. We all have bills to pay. But one thing I will tell you is, money does not buy happiness. It makes things easier. You're not going to have the same problems that people with no money have, right? Like, you can hire help. It makes it easier. Like, you could, if you're a single mom but you have money, you could hire a nanny to help you. You know, you could pay for the best daycare, right? Yeah. It makes it easier, but it doesn't truly buy happiness. And so sometimes we get locked into these careers and these degrees not really locked, because you can always change your mind, but you get in these jobs because, you know, you want to make a certain amount of money, but it's hard to really thrive there. It's hard to really be happy there because you really just don't like what you're doing. It's hard to excel. It's hard to climb the professional ladder because you just really don't like what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that. So for me, like, making content, I was doing it for free. Like, this YouTube channel, my other YouTube channels, they're monetized now, but they weren't when I first started. My Instagram, I make money on there now. I wasn't when I first was getting going. I make money on Threads, but I wasn't when I first was getting started. So sometimes you gotta ask yourself, if they weren't paying, would you still do it? And I know how crazy this sounds. I know how crazy this sounds, because like I said, we all gotta put food on our table. We all got people we gotta take care of. But it'll help you figure out what you really want to do. And so once you can figure out what it is that you really want to do, it's going to be so much easier for you to actually do it. So that when 2025 comes around, you can stay locked in because you truly like what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of this discussion, is to try to figure out how we can be more successful in 2025 than we were in 2024. And for a lot of you guys, you start off strong for a week or two or a month, and you go back right into your old ways. But again, I think a lot of it is because you're trying to do things that you don't like to do, or you're doing it in a way that isn't best for you. Just because y'all see me lift weights every day doesn't mean that's what's best for you. You might not want to lift weights. That might not be fun to you. So yeah, you watching my workouts, you know, that's good. Like, you should do some resistance training. You need to build muscle, you know, but you don't have to do it every day to build muscle. You could lift weights 2 to 3 times a week and still build good muscle. And the other days out the week, you could go play basketball, you know, because that's more fun to you. That makes you feel like you're not even really working out. So then you're going to be more consistent, and you're actually going to lose weight because you're being consistent with it. So if you're trying to start a business, ask yourself, because as a business owner, I can tell you, most businesses, you're not going to make a whole bunch of money starting off. So that's why that whole, would you do it for free? That's why that really comes into place, because for a really long time, you're not going to be making no money. Or if you're making money, you got to dish it right back out. So it still feels like you're really not making no money. But if you're in a business, in a field that you really like, yeah, you know it's going to be tough financially for a little while. You're going to have to sacrifice, go without, downsize your living expenses, downsize your living lifestyle. But it's worth it for you because you really like what it is that you're doing. So then therefore, you will be more consistent with it. And you'll show up every day because you really like it. You know? So just some food for thought. Because what we don't want is to have a whole nother year go by and you ain't did shit. And then here you gonna be in 2026 talking about the same thing. The same thing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Girl, you ain't gonna do nothing. You gonna sit down? Because you ain't did nothing last year. So what's gonna be different this year? Ain't nothing gonna be different. And then on top of that, when you're doing something that you really like to do, it's easier to remove the distractions. I think the distractions just get removed automatically, because what you'll realize on your journey is you would rather be working on your goal because you have so much fun doing it. So going out and clubbing all night is just that's not even going to excite you no more, because you really enjoy what it is that you're working on. Hanging out with friends all the time. I didn't say like, you know, every once in a while, but like all the time, that shit ain't even gonna excite you no more, because you're gonna be so excited with what you're working on. It's really gonna start to consume you, because you just really love what it is that you're doing. You just really love your job, or the degree that you're studying for to get a better job, or you just really love being a content creator. You just really love working on your business. Maybe you do hair. You just really love doing hair. Like, so a lot of stuff ain't even gonna excite you, you know, because you're gonna be so focused on what you're working for. But you're not gonna really be focused on what you're working for if you working for something that you don't even really like to do. So I had to learn that. I think a lot of people do. Yo, how many times I yawn? I probably yawn about 20 times on this video. Sorry, y'all. It's not that it's too early for me because I'm up at this time. It's just too early to gym. Like, I'm not used to going to the gym this early. I've been like a late morning gym goer, like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. I've been on that for the past few weeks. But I have a Zoom call with my mentor at 11, so I was like, I guess I gotta go early because I'm going gym. But yeah, so just, you know, think about that. Write some stuff down, give yourself some ideas. You know, you'll figure it out. Just spend some time by yourself, just reflecting, thinking about your life, thinking about what you want to accomplish, and ask yourself, is this really something I want to do, or am I only saying it because it sounds cool, or I know so and so will be proud of me? I want you to work on being proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. You know, impress yourself.